started, I know why we think we're here, but I just wanted to tell you what I'm looking for, and that's somebody to trust. You guys are gonna show me some great services that you've got, a lot of these firms do. But what I wanna know is, at the end of this, can I trust you with the support part of my business? And that's what I need, that's the kind of people I need to surround myself with. So that's what I'm looking for, okay?
Okay, we hear you, and we understand trust is a huge part
Yes.
of any business, of having a relationship like we do with our clients and how you have with M&K. We completely understand that. That's why we brought such a diverse team here today to introduce to you, to let you know what different aspects of our business we think will be best suited for you.
Good.
To start out, I'm Team5Bosnik, and I'm a senior audit partner out of the Seattle, Washington office. I've been working with Deloitte for 17 years in the media and technology industry. I'm currently one of the senior audit partners on our LinkedIn account, and I've brought with me Cameron, who is also a senior tax partner.
Good.
Cameron Young, I'm a senior tax partner, also out of the Seattle office. Been with Deloitte for about 15 years now, over the course of which I've worked on LinkedIn and Microsoft, and I've worked on both the tax compliance and tax provision side, which has given me a lot of good experience in the technology industry.
Good.
And now I'm going to hand it off to Dan, our IPO specialist.
I'm Dan Savio. I'm the senior IPO specialist. I've been with the firm for 10 years. I've done over 20 IPO deals in my career, both domestically and internationally, so I'll be bringing that yin to the yang to the table.
Some in the technology sector, I'm assuming?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good.
I'm Ryan Schwepke. I was an auditor for Deloitte for 5 years before leaving and becoming the accounting director at Twitter. I'm now back with the firm as an audit manager, and I've also worked closely with many of our consulting teams. From my days at Twitter, I have a lot of experience, and I understand the risks and the challenges associated with the social networking industry. I'm very excited for the potential opportunity to work with you.
Right.
Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan Burns. I'm a senior consultant at Deloitte. I spent my first 2 years at the firm actually as an auditor, and I audited Microsoft and LinkedIn. And since those years, I've been a consultant. And due to Sarbanes-Oxley rules, I've been able to work on engagements for Facebook, for Amazon, and also Zynga, a mobile game developer.
Yeah.
My specialty is in systems integration, specifically getting enterprise resource planning systems to connect the company and the people together.
Okay, good.
And so going off what Dylan said about our consulting service, I want to give you a proposal.
Okay.
You are free to read it after if we can't address all of your questions, or if you need more answers. It is more detailed in there. We understand
Okay.
you are very busy and have a limited amount of time. And going off of your relationship with M&K and how much you trust them, we want to let you know we think they're a phenomenal auditing company. We think they have done a great job. We know their work very well. We've worked with them on many occasions. And we feel that because you have this great trust, while we would love to audit you, we think you should keep them on as your auditor. And we believe, because Deloitte, our unique niche out of the Big Four is that we offer advisory and consulting services, and we are the biggest of the Big Four. We've worked with many technology sectors. So we would like to offer you our tax, advisory, and consulting services, and let you keep on M&K. We've worked with them before, we know what it's like, and we think this would be the best situation to bring you to market and to expand you globally.
And there would be no issues going forward in terms of with our growth or potential IPOs?
Absolutely
nothing?
not. Absolutely not. This is what I brought this team here for. I think Ryan is best suited to talk to you about some of the issues in the industry right now and what you might face and how our services can help you with that.
Okay.
So Ryan?
So I just want to start out by saying that we believe Amigo's 3D hologram technology is incredibly innovative, and we all feel that it can be the next big player in social networking. So going off that point, we want to introduce you a couple of the consulting services that we do have. So the social networking industry, in our view, is going to continue to expand pretty rapidly, about 30% over the next 5 years or so. And because of that, it's going to expand both domestically and internationally. So with these international expansion can come extra challenges and risks. And we believe our consulting teams can help mitigate those risks and navigate those challenges appropriately. So for instance, one of our consulting teams is to be our foreign corrupt tax stack consultants. And what they can do is help you identify potential violations that can be occurring and help you with your controls overseas to avoid those potential violations. Also, along those same lines, social networking competition is very high right now, and the growth is also very high. So you need to be able to respond to competition quickly and identify industry trends very quickly. So we have our corporate development consultants, and what they can do is they can help you anticipate growth opportunities and competitive disruptions and help you respond to those. Now those are just a couple of the 2 services that we have. We have many more, but we just want to say that our Seattle office prides itself in developing close relationships with all of our clients, and Amigo would be no exception to that, and we continue to encourage you to voice your concerns to us as you guys continue to grow and expand. So going off of that, I'm going to turn it over to Dylan and let him talk about some of the technology consulting service we have.
Sure, thanks a lot, Ryan. Three areas that I see Amigo benefiting from our consulting services are in your international growth, server efficiency, which as you get more users, you're going to need to be able to handle them and maintain the same experience. And then finally, mobile monetization, being able to generate ad revenue through your website on mobile devices, but in a way that isn't annoying or irritating to the users. So specifically with systems integration, I was on the Amazon consulting engagement as they opened up more offices in China. And the whole point of this engagement was being able to connect their Chinese offices with their Seattle offices. And we did that through an enterprise resource planning system. It was a smooth transition, there were no bugs, and as you grow internationally, we see that we can help you, connect your people and your systems together. Second, with server efficiency, I was on the Facebook engagement, and as their user base increased, servers slowed down, and the individual experience also slowed down because the connection speed between the users and the server were filled up. So what we would advise is certain hardware and software to be able to enable users to get the same experience no matter how many users there are as your company continues to grow. And finally, with mobile monetization, we believe that everyone, within the next 5 or 10 years is going to have some form of a smartphone, and so you need to have your presence on smartphones through an application that can still generate ad revenue, but in a way that won't annoy them. I was able to work with Zynga, they're a mobile game developer, to find ways to create ads that aren't annoying, but they generate revenue for your company, and they just give you better insight into what the consumer wants. So Cameron, he's more of a specialist into ad revenue and revenue recognition, and he'll help you with this right now.
And on revenue recognition, through our experience with multiple social media companies, we know that most income is derived from advertising revenue. But that can be kind of tricky to work with just based on how the contracts are structured. We really want to make sure we properly report and represent how much revenue is being recorded and in the proper period to avoid any negative implications regarding your tax liability or Amigo's public image. So when we're looking at the contract structure, we see an audience measurement metric, which is generally what you need to fulfill in order to recognize that revenue. And it usually comes in two flavors, an impression rate or a click-through rate. The impression rate relies on people seeing the ad and actually visiting Amigo. The click-through rate is how many times someone clicks it, and once that measurement is actually met, then you can recognize that revenue. So what our professionals will do is go in and analyze your contracts and make sure that your revenue is being reported in the proper period when it should be and in its entirety. The second subject I'd like to go over would be tax implications of virtual currency transactions. So as social media companies are becoming more diverse, as Dylan mentioned, they're relying heavily on ad revenue. But now they're looking to get into virtual currency transactions to exchange gifts through online games and the actual social media platform itself. And this is projected to be about a $14 billion market, so it's very important to take a prompt stance and make sure you have a position that can avoid any potential tax penalties. When looking at this, it's still a very gray area in terms of accounting. It's very hard to determine whether virtual currency should be considered a deposit, a property, or even the foreign currency itself. So our professionals will be able to go in there and really help you determine whether a cross-border transaction has taken place and whether international taxation is required, and how we can recommend how to classify these transactions so you can avoid negative implications. Okay. And now I'm going to pass it off to Dan to talk about the potential IPO.
Thanks, Cam. Continuing on the lines of consulting, I will be bringing along with my team and us here an IPO specialty. We're providing you with a package solution which will provide raising capital solutions, pointing you in the correct direction if you decide to go along the IPO track. And if you don't decide to go along in that IPO track, we give you options and strategies on how you can benefit in the proper direction. Specifically, what we'll be bringing is an academy of IPO programs, IFRS reporting, and fast and close to meet the exchange requirements in an international market. You mentioned earlier that you were worried a little bit about growth, and having a specialty in the international IPO market will give you and us a good way to see how your future problems or issues can be sorted out. Additionally, we can provide corporate governance advice on transparency, which is very important. And with that being said, you also mentioned trust. And as a specialty in IPO, trust is one of the key things that I look at, because we have information that goes from our team to your team to our team to your team. So we've set in a bunch of controls that are in place to make sure that no information leaves our circle at all, because The importance of an IPO is information. How much capital are we going to raise? Who are we going to get it from? How that strategy is going to be derived. And we have a good foundation in place to keep that in control. I mentioned international IPOs earlier, and I want to lead that on to how our IFRS issues can be tackled in the technology market. There are three things that I wanted to cover: revenue recognition, R&D expenditure, and business combinations. What we found doing our research before we came to today was that in revenue recognition, the most misconstrued thing that we found was contracts with consumers. We found that we didn't know if you were getting a contract from someone here or there. That being said, there are some things that were exceptions to that rule, like leases, financial instruments, insurance contracts, and non-monetary exchanges. Second thing I want to highlight was R&D expenditure. Found that technology companies don't correctly report their technology expenditures as either capitalized or expensed. The final thing that I wanted to mention is business combinations. The good thing about business combinations is they haven't changed in a while, so we will be doing a little work on that. And I'll bring it to Casey to bring home.
So I just want to thank you so much for this opportunity. We really appreciate it, and I hope you feel that this team is someone you can connect with and trust. I have worked with each one of them personally, and I know I am an audit senior partner, but that still means I interact with these people on a day-to-day basis. And I've worked on consulting practices, and I've worked in the advisory with clients. I'm not there to tell them how to do their work. I'm there to advise them on how to affect their financial statements, how this will look to their shareholders. And I understand that you want to be able to make sure that everything still looks great and that you continue to expand. So I want to thank you for the opportunity. If you have any questions, we are happy to answer them now, or if we run out of time, because I know you're busy, we are free to answer them if you want to call us or email any of us.
So I'm gonna be a little fish in a big old pond. You guys are a big firm. Am I too small for your firm?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Deloitte prides itself on having